friends of YouTube. Tonight I'm going to say few things that should be, helpful for you when you start reading the book of Yashar, because are things that are mentioned in the Bible too, but nobody pays attention or nobody takes really a moment to think about that, because as you can see in this sentence that is in the in the verse 14, you can see that it is said, and it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death, and his two sons with Enoch and Methuselah his son buried him. Bueno, the thing is that how you think that Adam is going to live 930 years old. The thing is that I think that in that time the world was so pure that Adam could live a thousand years. In fact, there are people that think that Adam was going to live 1,000 years, only that he donated, saying it in those words, 70 years to the King David, something like that. It is a belief that it is spread in the community. There are people that think so. I may consider that idea because it isn't all wrong. But the thing is that the things, when you see that this book of Yashar, it really takes facts of the Bible. It really complements the Bible. It's a compliment for the Bible. This book is really a help when you try to understand all the things, the situation that happened after the creation, the creation of the human, because it starts with the creation of the human. As you can see it in the first verse of this book, the book of Yashar, you can see that the first thing that they start doing is creating the man, creating the human, because there are no other books that talk about the creation and the things that happen in the sky, in the heavens, because the sky for me is like the firmament, and the heavens are those dimensions that are above the earth, where Yahweh is in his throne, and all the angels in their dimensions. That's all. But as you can see in the first verse of this book, you can see that it said, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And Elohim created man in his own image, and Elohim formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils. So you can see he's talking about the human in the first few verses. And why? Because it's a book that talks about the history of the human, what they do, how community, how society, how they do when they were created, and how they start, all the population. It's the history of the human beings, the history that brings the Bible, the history that brings the 5 books of Moses, the Torah. Is a history about the things that happened, since the creation, and how it's all established. Is the establishment of for all the things, the book of Moses. And this is a book for history. That's what we need to understand before reading this book, because it's a really interesting book. It's a really book. It's a really book. It's really a book that could be amazing to read, because it explains a lot of things. You can see that in this book sometimes they explain things as that some people has extremely strength, but consider that in that time the world was purer, was in its purest state. So you could imagine that some people was strong as hell. Nothing else to say. I just recommend this book. And this was a video about the things that you should take, that should let sink in before reading this book, because it's a book that if you don't have a basis in the Bible, you could lost. You could, not understand what is happening. That's the reason why you should read the Bible first. I really recommend before reading this book to read the Bible first. It's simple. Even before reading this book, you need to read all the Bible, because the Bible itself complements itself. And if you don't read the little book that is the Bible, you could not understand other books that are not in the Bible, because it is so many information. Read first what you have, and that is the Bible, and then read this book. That is the best the best tip I would give you before reading this kind of books, because you cannot start reading these books if you haven't started reading the Bible. Read that first, and then we talk. What the hell?